You talked a little about education. Actually, education has been part of, I mean, it has permeated everything we talked about here right now, right? But this education is key to make people actually use crypto, right? Do you guys plan these education, I don't know, courses differently across the globe? I mean, I suppose that here in Brazil, since we have such a large market, I guess you have a way of working it here and then a different way of working it in Ireland, for example.
Yeah, we try to be very local in our execution around educational initiatives. So there's a couple of like big initiatives that we'll run at a country level. So like Binance Academy that I mentioned, our masterclass, that's localized in local language. The content is always about like trends or items that are really popular at that moment in the local country. That's what we're pushing out. We'll support that by meetups, which are, I've already mentioned, which are events. It can be a 50-person, coffee and donut, or it can be a 1,000-person event like we have tonight where it's, beer and pizza. And that's a way where you can, similar to how when we were younger, we were probably brought into the bank with our parents where they were having the conversations with the teller. It's like the modern day version of that. We partner, we've just finished an amazing 18-stop tour in Brazil with some of the top universities to educate on this space and how students can leverage it, whether it be about starting their own businesses in this space or whether it be just simply being a user. It's about kind of opening their minds up to this. We're really lucky to be able to, partner with some of, the leading media and local entertainment individuals, which also kind of help reinforce that this is a trusted space because they do their due diligence. They're not going to work with just anyone. And we work with an amazing influencer called Il Primo here, who's a character. And he's, obviously financial education is one of his core pillars. So that's a great way to get content into the minds of individuals who maybe don't want to follow a Binance social account. They much more, think about it. Can you remember the first time you heard about crypto or Bitcoin?
Oh, it was around 2019, maybe.
Wow, that was early. Yeah. But like everyone's got a story where they were introduced to it in some way. So like ensuring that we're working on word of mouth methods of communication is really important. So I think that runs the gamut in terms of education. But we also have this amazing group of people. And one of our strongest communities here is our Binance Angels. And these are incredible. Like they're 600 strong now around the world. We have, I think, about 30 here in Brazil. And they are individuals who were early to crypto, way before you and I got in. They're people who've benefited from that space personally. And now, they volunteer. They don't get paid to do this, which I'm always shocked when people do this without getting paid. I don't know whether it's the Irish in me, but they volunteer and they do that and they work online and they work at events to help show people and remove the blockers to people to enter.
Have you ever heard of a guy named Daniel Fraga?
Yeah.
He's a legend around here. Nobody knows where this guy is. He's probably in El Salvador, maybe.
I know, it's amazing. I know, it's amazing. But it's these people who, and I spoke to one individual last night, and he got into this, and I was like, "How did you get into it?" He's like, "I wanted to be, He's only 23 now, so I think he got in when he was like 17. And he opened up an account because of age getting through his mum's account. And he was like, I was going to be a trader. I was going to be a hardcore trader. But he's like, my mum wanted to ensure she was in the space too. So I set it up so she was able to put 10 USDT, buy $10 worth of BNB and $10 worth of Bitcoin every week. That was 7 years ago. And now he's realized that even though he was a trader for 3 of those years, his mother's portfolio is doing better than him because she was just consistent and saved a little every week. Like that's one of the things I think we really need to encourage. Bitcoin's at 117,000 today. You don't have to spend 117,000 to enter into the space. You can buy a small fraction. A Bitcoin, you can buy $10 worth, you can buy $2 worth. And that's how you can start your journey. And, that's what I think is the beauty of this industry. It really is accessible to everyone.
You're saying that it's not too late to get into that.
No, not at all. We're still so early. I think we're at the really, like as much as I need more sleep, but we're still at the early stages of this. I think we've 3 or 4 years before this goes mainstream fully. So, anyone that's interested in taking their first step into this today, I would argue it's like as right a day as any to do it, and not to cry over, not being in it 7 years ago. I always regret.
Almost convincing me.
But really, it's like it's an opportune time, and one thing I will say that's been such a big part of driving the momentum behind this space recently is, 2 years ago, none of my friends in finance or institutional were entering into the space. And in the last year alone, we've seen BBVA, we've seen Santander, Goldman Sachs has revealed that they've got a large amount on their P&L sitting in a Bitcoin treasury. And we're only seeing that continue to grow. These are individuals that have every insight and data point at the end of their fingertips.
That's right.
And they've decided that this space is here to stay. So if they're getting involved, and that's one thing, I'm really grateful for that, because it really even adds more legitimacy to this space. And as a marketeer, I'm going to capitalize on that as much as I can.
I guess so. And how do you see, you actually mentioned that we still 3 or 4 years before it goes mainstream?
I think so. Now, that's my personal take. That's not a Binance take, because who knows what could happen tomorrow that might drive that even faster.
But do you expect something to happen tomorrow?
I have learned in this industry that you never know what's going to happen on a daily basis. I didn't expect, when I first joined this industry, I didn't expect the US to do a full U-turn as they have done on the industry.
I see.
I didn't expect to suddenly be getting calls from some of, my former clients, at CAA, the football athletes being like, should I start taking my wages in Bitcoin? That's where I always am pleasantly surprised about the developments in this space and how they kind of, on top of a lot of work that my team does, I don't want to say it's all easy, but that they're propelling us forward. So I think that's, I always operate from a basis that, you have to be ready for any surprise, good or bad.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
It's just society, the way we live now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.